Who knows? What are the options tomorrow? Again, it's moving at such an astronomical pace. It's impossible to say. I'm going to throw out a theory that I've been throwing around. I haven't heard anyone agree with me, but let's throw it out there. Let's try. So, controversially, and we don't like to admit it, but ultimately, teachers have a role currently in education where we put children into rank order. It's awful. But ultimately, that is kind of what happens. We have these awful summative exams, which teachers have to train the children for, that says this child is brilliant and this child isn't good. And the reason we have to have that is because when a good job comes up, let's say it's a job that everyone wants, we can't have 8 billion people applying for it and 8 billion people interviewing for it, because it's not feasible. They can't interview 8 billion people. And therefore, what they need some sort of summative assessment that they look at the employer and they say, right, well, this child's got 5 A stars at A level. We'll interview them. They're in the shortlist. And this one has got 1 C at A level. Throw them in the bin. We don't like to admit it, but ultimately that's what happens in jobs. They look for candidates. And it's left to teachers to train and then put them into summative exams to decide who makes the shortlist. Now, here's the thing. I'm quite excited that maybe with AI, there's some tests coming out there that maybe it solves that problem. That with AI, it's not there yet, but they are doing lots of experiments, that 8 billion people can apply for that job. They can be interviewed by AI, and AI can fairly and efficiently and cheaply rank them in order for their merit on that job. There is some argument that it could do that very well. It can mix up, it understands psychology, and it says, yes, this is the person. So all the employer has to do is say, look, I'm looking for this job. Everyone applies, interviewed by an AI, and then this is the person for the job. Well, that sounds maybe a bit futuristic and scary. But if I think about that from my job as a teacher, I just love that idea, because the worst part of my job is having to summarize. And I don't most of the time. I leave that to external exams. That leaves me firmly as a teacher doing one thing, helping the children, not being their judge, not being their assessor. I just have to form them. All of my assessment, if I do it, can be formative. All of my lessons can be to help them. At no point do I have to get the children who I like and go, oh, by the way, you're better than that one, which is what we currently have to do. We don't like to admit it, but that's actually what we do. Well, wouldn't that be amazing if in education you could remove that? You can just say, look, I like all of you, and I've got one job, and it's to train you as much as I can. And then in the future, when you go for a job, you don't need a piece of paper saying, look how good I am. You get your job on the merits. Very difficult. Currently, is the AI going to be fair in doing that? I know we're talking futuristic, but I don't think that's that far-fetched. So there we go. I think no one agrees with me. I may be talking rubbish, but I think maybe that's where we could be heading. And I'd love it if I didn't have to do any summative assessment.